Hello, I'm meteorologist Jeff Renner from King 5 News in Seattle, and with me is Dr. Kristin Laidre of the University of Washington's Polar Science Center, part of the Applied Physics Lab. You do some fascinating work, and it's going to be part of our sound conversation at the aquarium. Now, you grew up in upstate New York. You did all of your academic work at the University of Washington, pretty mild climate. Whatever caused you to focus on Arctic marine mammals?
Yeah, good question. Well, the Arctic is a fascinating place, and I think a lot of people that end up starting in the Arctic, they never leave. So I started working in the Arctic as an undergraduate student when I was at the University of Washington studying ice seals and beluga whales in Alaska. And essentially, you know, there were just so many questions and interesting things to pursue that I stayed in the game and continued on until here I am.
What interest or what impact do marine mammals have? What message do they have, those that live in the Arctic, on those of us that live beyond the Arctic?
Well, I mean, I think the Arctic is a place where we really see the effects of climate change first, for example, warming temperatures or sea ice loss. And so the species that live in the Arctic are essentially like the canary in the coal mine, and that we can see the effects of the climate change on those species and ultimately try and understand how climate change will affect other species that aren't in such a dynamic and seasonal environment.
Now, you've done some fascinating work in terms of actually tracking some of these animals, such as polar bears and narwhals, both to see where they migrate, where they move, how they live, but also what changes there are in the environment. What have you found out?
Well, so studying these Arctic species is difficult because they live in this remote environment and you really only have access to them for a couple weeks of the year. And so we've been using a technique called satellite telemetry. And that basically allows us to capture animals, put on small tracking devices, and look at their movements and behavior for up to a year. And what we've really been doing is trying to understand the relationship between animals and their environment, what kinds of habitats they use, what happens when those habitats change, where they go. In some cases, like narwhals, using them to actually sample the habitat for us, so sample ocean temperatures when they dive to the bottom.
And what have you found out in terms of ocean temperatures? Are those changing?
Yeah, they're definitely changing. There's no doubt. Narwhals have helped us see that.
Warming up or cooling off?
Warming up.
Well, this is going to be part of our sound conversation at the aquarium, so we hope you'll join us. That's going to be Thursday evening, March 3rd at the Seattle Aquarium, beginning at 7:30. Dr. Kristin Laidre, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks a lot.